How Bizarre is intended for mature, open-minded audiences only. If you are easily offended, we suggest you turn this wacky shit straight off.
It's probably about 14 inches.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Give
Whoa,
them
what
a
I
run for the money.
That's what
What did I just come in on?
If you're at your computer or smartphone listening at home and you want to look it up, it's Stunden glass, Stunden, Stunden. I guess Seth Rogen went viral smoking out of one of these on Instagram like a year ago, and it was the prototype. But this thing, I'm not even gonna say how much it was. It's fucking unbelievable. But I'm hoping it'll help me. I don't want to smoke as many joints. I don't feel like it's very good for my lungs and my teeth and everything. So this filters through two giant, 16-ounce mason jars, spherical on one end, I guess. It looks like a Dr. Mario pill.
Yeah, that's what I thought, actually. It looks like a big pill.
Yeah.
And you flip it, so the water's in one of the capsules, and you flip it, and the water transferring to the second chamber draws all the smoke from the bowl, and then you flip it again, and it filters it through the water and just sends the smoke out a little pipe. So you can smoke with people and not have to share a mouthpiece, too, because it literally shoots it into people's mouths, you know?
I
like
appreciate that.
Shut it off. You could turn it on its side and just kind of stop.
Stops.
You walk away.
It's kind of nice.
Do whatever. You go to the store and then come back and it's still there and it's not.
I don't know if
Can you still hit
that
it?
way. Does the smoke? I think you can, but I
Try
don't know. I think it loses its the smoke will still kind of stay in the tube.
You're gonna have to experiment and get back to us.
Yeah. Plan a trip to the
Science,
store.
guys.
Take half a hit.
For science, yep.
Well, Chris, you still sound like ass.
Hold on, let me make some changes here. I think.
Well, it's not necessarily your mic. It seems like bit rate.
Bandwidth.
Bit rate.
I can get it fixed, I think.
Are you watching porn on your other computer?
Oh, is that what's going?
Not yet. Download, no. Always
too
down.
much. You know, Chris brought up the story on one of the recent shows that Pornhub had some sort of out with all the credit card companies. I don't know if that got fixed, but that night I remember going to check out to see if all my usuals were there. I probably don't watch the kind of porn that most people are looking up. Not that it's like bizarre or freaky shit. It's just I'm not into mainstream porn. I don't even like how it looks. I don't like how I don't like the Hollywood look of mainstream porn. So I like amateur.
Funny, we found out what Ron's big fetish was, and it happened to be like Amish people fucking.
You don't know until you know. And I have not scrolled up an Amish movie. I haven't seen Amish cinema with an S. But I didn't notice any change. Have you noticed any changes, Chris, or do you know if this has been resolved? Because it seemed like something they would want fixed post-haste.
I don't know. You know, I know it happened. I don't know how much content was actually removed, but I don't go to Pornhub very often anymore. But I did go last.
Are you in rehab?
Yeah, that's happening. Sure. Oh man, I download high quality porn. I enjoy it very much, and I sift through it, and I save the ones I like. So
I feel like this would be a good time to come out with one of my secrets.
Oh, Lyle, hit us.
Talk about a little bit, not a lot. We talked about it on our live show way back in the day, and about the VR porn.
Mm-hmm.
And since new technology and everything, like a while ago, I want to say a while ago, I picked up one of those. What are they called? The
Quest?
Oculus?
No, the Onyx.
Mm.
So this is basically like a very, very expensive fleshlight, right? So it's a fleshlight that is mechanical, okay?
All right,
but I have to kind of explain how this works. Inside this shaft, you would put your shaft in. It has like 10 rings, and the rings move, right? So it kind of like, and you can put it on different settings. And there's a manual and an automatic thing. And the reason why I bought it is because I do have, a VR headset, and I've seen VR porn. But what you could do is you could hook them together on certain
finally.
movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, you know, you insert inside, and it'll basically demonstrate like what's going on in the movie will work on the machine. So it simulates
The
it.
future, ladies and gentlemen. 2020. It took 2021, but
Well,
we're here. We are here.
It's crazy, dude.
Right.
You remember when we used to have to look at VHSs to see if they were hi-fi to make your home theater when all that shit was new? Your home theater. It was a big deal when hi-fi VCRs came out. It was a big deal, and it was day and fucking night, because up until then everything was. It was in stereo. It's not like we went from mono to stereo, but it may as well have been that big of a change. But I remember, like, one of the first movies I bought that had the hi-fi logo on it was Jurassic Park. It was about the era that this shit was really getting going. And I got a hi-fi VCR for Christmas, and I put it in, and I was like, how much better could it be? And I was like, holy fucking shit. Well, especially with the movie like Jurassic Park, which is so sound important. But for some reason that made me think of, well, now you gotta, you know, that's the cutting edge now. You gotta look for movies that have the logo of whatever the Onyx capable. What would it be? Onyx friendly or Onyx ready?
Well, it's an Onyx Plus, and the thing is like it has its mate, you know, like a female dildo version of it, and you could interlink them. So
I've seen that. I've seen that done
girl.
on
yeah. If you meet a girl like
Does that mean you could technically fuck your own ass?
if you had it linked
think
up,
you
I like how your mind went immediately there. A little
I've done
shame-minded.
everything else wrong.
well, dude, the thing is, and the crazy thing is, you know, from the real thing versus that, I mean, that's not that fucking far away. Holy crap. It's close, you know, and the whole reason why I brought it up and the reason why I dove into it in the first place was the fact of COVID. You know, I'm not fucking anywhere, and I, you know, single for a year before I had cancer anyway. So it's like, good. So
Yeah, I bet sex toys are selling like crazy right now. But I want to go back to what Christopher said. that's really captured my image. It seems like it'd be a little, because there's got to be a slight delay. But imagine having the dildo end up your ass.
The lag of my own ass fuck is really killing me, guys.
Yeah. It's like, how do I clean up this lag? Well, even if there's no lag, it's just, what a strange sensation. It would be like you're fucking your own ass. Lyle, report back.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to try that.
Oh, I would try that in a fucking heartbeat, and maybe never have sex again. That could be what opens up the. That could be where my third eye is. It's in my asshole, and I just haven't gone in deep enough.
Well, I think it's another page you never really thought about, is that some people could get on forums like that and then be able to actually hook up with other people online.
Well, I've thought about it because of ChatterBait and things like that, where there are versions of that.
I don't know if that's such a thing, but I know, like, if you met somebody and you both had your ID things, you could just swap them and then, set up for, like a Skype call.
That's a good thing to include on your Tinder profile, maybe.
You totally could.
It's like
I'm sure
Onyx ready myself.
But
you should
I'm
put
not.
that. Are you on Tinder, Lyle?
I used it for a little bit, and it's been sitting on the shelf. So it's like, that was always.
Dust it off, baby.
Yeah.
I tried to order a fleshlight earlier this year.
What you're describing, Lyle, is called teledildonics.
Yeah, teledildonics.
You would know that. I tried to order a fleshlight earlier this year. Well, not that long ago. And they're backed up, as am I. You can't get them. I thought that you could just order them anywhere, but they're not on Amazon anyway. So you got to go through like the, I guess a dealer or the actual website. But it just said like, we'll ship this out in about 2 months. I was like, in 2 months, I'll be dead by then. So I didn't get.
I was looking around, and there's a whole bunch of different ones. But by far, this one was the one that I got was like the creme de creme.
Well, Lyle, let's hear. I want to hear like how many stars, buddy? I mean, would recommend.
How many stars did you see?
Man, I'm telling you, from the real fucking thing, it's like an 8 out of 10.
Wow.
10 out of 10. It's like an 8 out of 10. And I can't even almost say it's just because of the visual, because you could use it alone. And it's probably still an 8 out of 10.
Is it adjustable for those of us that might not need 11 rings left?
Could I just really ramp up the first 2 rings and get by? Or?
And I'm not trying to boast or anything too, but like
Lau.
one of the downsides about the thing is that it seems like the motors have a hard time struggling when you get like completely hard.
Oh,
You know, like you're. I admit it's probably just me, but
It's too much for it to handle.
it's,
I'm giving it all I can, Captain.
It's close. It's
just
close.
chugging away.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, so I don't know. I would definitely
Give this man his money back. I can't.
You're into. You probably get them fairly cheap now, though. I would think.
Yeah, well, there were a
This is the
lot of.
third generation, so they've gone through like 2 different generations. So you could look it up and just.
But you mean that means you're the third owner, right?
No.
You
No,
sex
it's
toys.
the third. I think the first one like didn't really work with like certain movies or something like that, or some kind of weird thing. I'm not entirely too sure about it, but like this one like is supposed to be, do all of it, which is, and like I said, if you were watching like a movie and like experiencing that, it's you're getting tricked on two different
Virtual
ends.
reality for
By the
sure.
time
Yeah.
you're done, you don't even know where the fuck you are.
Yeah.
You're pulling, you go, oh okay, where's the yeah.
Well, yeah, I wonder. There is this thing where you can sort of burn out your sensories a little bit when using sex toys. Probably not something
really?
like that, but well, that's not the right way to phrase it. But a lot of people have experience, especially using these powerful vibrators, experience where at some point that becomes the only way you can get off, and so you won't just be able to get off on a regular setup. I wonder how rampant that is, or if that's more of a myth. I know a couple people who have definitely had that problem.
I would say that's probably a bit true. I heard with the newer generation, because there's something that's like in the newer generation, a lot of kids, in their 20s and 30s or whatnot, they all say it, about eating ass. Oh man,
Yeah, that's millennials love eating ass, man.
exactly. And it came up in a subject one time, and somebody said that it was because that younger kids had accessibility to porn so early in their life.
The pussy's old
That
news.
they spanked their way through everything, so like they start at the end.
It's like, if I can't tell what you had for lunch, we ain't even fucking around.
Yeah, so it's just like that. They've gone through everything else, and that's like the only thing that gets them off. I don't
Well,
know, weird.
desensitization is absolutely real.
Chris.
Oh, there's Chris.
Guys,
You look blessed.
Where are you?
this is my new office. This is
Is it now?
yeah. You like the decoration?
I do. What a random background. Yeah, eating ass is it's fraught with
Peril?
it can be fraught with peril.
After dinner, it's an after shower journey.
Sure.
You want to do that after a shower.
I might even prefer it mid-shower. That might even be the best time to eat ass. I like it. I can get behind it, quite literally. But it is one of those things where it's a gamble. And how gung-ho are you here? But you know what? I've also seen memes that lead me to believe that a lot of people are talking about eating ass, but don't really back it up when they're
it's like
between the sheets.
What was it that we used to say back in the day? Like you'd eat a mile of her shit just to find out where it came from. Remember?
Boy, I don't know that I've heard that.
And then
Lovely adage.
Reach on, Lau.
It's an old one, but a goodie. Yes.
I'm not familiar with that Air Supply song. Yeah, they changed as they got older, but still romantic. Well, before we get on to whatever, I mean, we don't really have much of a show tonight, and that's kind of been the topic the last couple of shows. Of course, well, this, for anyone listening, you're going to be hearing this days later, but two very day was the siege on the at the Capitol with the Trump supporters in what I'd be surprised if it doesn't end up being called Trump's last stand, because as the night progresses, that's kind of what it's starting to feel like. I don't know if you all have been following the news, but let's back up. Let's basically, this thing has been don't know how much I want to talk about one aspect of this. There's been some back and forth. There's some drama with someone who's local, and she's actually had a little affiliation with the podcast in the past, but I think that's all I'm comfortable saying. You could probably do the math and figure it out. But she is one of these Trumpster conspiracy theorists and believes liberals are following Satan's plan. Like that's not hyperbole. That's not, there's no exaggeration there. That's exactly what she believes. She believes, she's one of these QAnon and,
can you tell us and then just bleep it out?
She is just one of these people that, believes all these, to me, crazy sounding conspiracy theories. And, we started this show heavily steeped in conspiracy theories, but we were just entertaining them, and some of them we wanted to believe maybe, or I know I was guilty of maybe reading what's the word? Just giving them too much credence, I suppose, going down the rabbit hole more than these theories deserved. But most of them were just kind of like, government cover-ups concerning UFOs and maybe chemtrail stuff and things that, for the most part, if you believe them, you believe them. If you don't, you don't. They're just like conversational and like, I've seen some weird shit, man. Let's talk about it. But that, over the years, over the more recent years, that has become less and less fun. To me, that the reason is because there are so many conspiracy theorists out there that are of the paranoid variety, and those were starting to come out of the woodwork, even for our show. I was starting to get some pretty weird email, and in a couple of instances, weird snail mail, which is even creepier. And I was like, I'm playing with some stuff here that, attracts a certain type. It attracts a lot of people, but it also attracts a certain type that is not well. Now, I'm not saying that this person I'm referring to is one of those like paranoid delusional types, but she buys into all these theories, and she has been talking some smack with some other people that are affiliated with me. Not me personally so far, although I have been blocked on social media concerning this person.
Really?
Yeah, wow. and it's funny because I really haven't had one single conversation about any of this. But anyway.
Yeah, I've seen you've been pretty neutral. I mean,
I am in general, and not because I don't have my own political allegiances, but because it's easier for me to be neutral a lot. Well, one, I'm logical and I understand when to fight and when to realize you're up against a wall that's just drying paint. You can yell at it and you can argue with it all you want, but you need to know when you're just up against a fucking wall, when you're dealing with something that is pointless. But the other thing is, I don't fall into the liberal or conservative category. I'm not a libertarian. I haven't found any of these, what you would call a third party or independent party entities that make sense to me. I have talked about my distrust of the government as a whole, not a distrust of the liberals, not a distrust of conservatives, and a disdain for the entire American system. I've talked about that a lot. And that was one of my hopes with COVID was that if we're going to go through this, if we're going to truly destroy our economic system, and if we're going to lose so many people, we didn't know where this was going 6-7 months ago, but it was looking scary. No matter what you believed, even if you believed it was a hoax, we were shut down. So that was scary. And if you believed it's real, the numbers that they were telling us and how it was all looking to shape out, that was scary. So either way you slice it, we were headed in for a roughing. But my disdain and my hope through that disdain was that some major structures that have been anchored into the roots of this country would be toppled. And I know a lot of people get uncomfortable when you talk about that, like I'm some sort of traitor, or commie is the word this person uses all the time. I can't believe we're still hearing that word. Commie and Nazi are two words that we should probably retire because we don't know how to use them properly. But they are things that exist and have existed, but they're almost never used properly these days. But anywho, So it's easier for me to have, there's always something I can bond with conservative people on, and there's always something I can bond with liberals on. I think it pretty clearly I tend to lean left, and that has just been a natural progression for me. I can go back and listen to earlier episodes of the show, and there are things that I say that make me cringe, mostly because I've changed my mind on it. I've changed my stance on it. You can do a lot of growing in 10 years.
Yeah, and society changes too, you know? It's not like
society changes, the government changes, you have new perspective. And that brings us to tonight. But the reason I gave it that setup was because this didn't come as a surprise to me, because I had been sort of following this person incognito, just because of the drama that's been, and I just, keeping tabs on it. I don't enjoy this kind of drama necessarily. I get that a lot of people were doing, the Michael Jackson gif of just eating popcorn, because there's a lot of back and forth in a public forum. Wow. But this is tied to my name. It's tied to my business. Eventually it became kind of tied, kind of. So I was just like more paranoid about. I just wanted to be aware of what was being said, and if I needed to step in. So far I haven't, but so I've been using the incognito window to just check social media. I'm like. And I was seeing things leading into this, certain hashtags. And about a week ago, I really started noticing people, this Patriot Party, as they're calling themselves, ramping each other up and saying some pretty crazy things and planning on storming the capitals, not Capitol, but the capitals of the nation today. And this is something that a lot of media has been covering. It's not like, and the government has even to some degree acknowledged it, and some of the capitals put in a little bit of extra security ahead of time to try to avoid it, or just anticipate it. And then the next thing I know, this morning or this afternoon, you guys are texting me, and John Mark texted something, and I was like, yeah, I've been watching it, but I was watching it out of the corner of my eye, and it's like, okay, they're protesting, and it's like, oh, they're really protesting, and they're climbing the walls, and the next thing I know, they're in the fucking chamber, the Senate chamber, and there's all these videos of people like drawing guns, and then somebody got shot, and then it's like, what? This is new. This is new.
Was it protesters brandishing firearms and being shot, or is it?
I didn't see any protesters holding guns.
Yeah, because this isn't really new, but it's kind of new to me. I got a glimpse of it. But it's two-sided. It's too hard to tell who's telling the truth.
It's a mess right now.
The word is that there was one of the rioters, shall we call them terrorists, that was shot attempting to gain entrance to one of the Senate chambers or whatever by either DC police or Secret Service.
Yeah, it seems pretty clear that the person that got
wearing
shot,
a Trump flag as a cape.
Well, the other question I had is if it's government property, it's public property, correct? It's not private property.
No,
it's not.
This goes a little beyond that.
Well, I do know that the people who there at some point it becomes office space and it's government property, but we don't own that, because I know that the people that even just went past, there's this like one gate or one wall that just passing that made they were criminally trespassing. And that's what most of these people will be charged with if they're charged with anything. But the people that went one place further, they couldn't have gained entrance into there without breaking and entering. So then you got that to consider. And you saw the footage of people smashing through doors, smashing through windows. And then you don't just stroll in, although they should not have been able to get in as easily as they did, and that's one part of this whole growing, unfolding saga at the moment, was how this was allowed to happen. Like because we're not talking about busloads of Navy SEALs here. These were just like the typical Trumpsters that you would see protesting around. The main breach that I saw was they were going over this one wall that kind of acted like a ladder the way it was bricked or cemented. They had toppled over some of those, those barriers that look like where you park your bike. and then they just put those sideways and use those as ladders, and then we got 2 or 3, people that can climb like a monkey up there, and then everyone else can pull the rest. And pretty soon they were just everywhere, and nobody was really doing a lot about it. Yeah, the one girl got shot. Sadly, she later died, and as far as I know, that's the only death. Well, that is the only death. As far as we all know, that's the only death. Lots of people were injured, but at some point, it just seems like the security and everyone just they were like, fuck it. This is too much for us. Goodbye. Which is fair at that point, but they never should have been backed up against the wall like that. There should have been extra security for this. But then...
Well, even if they knew it was coming, right? I mean, they knew.
They knew. Everyone knew.
What the hell didn't they just barricade it off?
That's the big question.
They wanted to make it bigger than it needed to be.
I was surprised that this happened, that they climbed in and started breaching. It was a real surreal moment to see them live, just like rifling through shit on the Senate floor, and stealing podiums and looting, just random shit. Just like they didn't really know what to do, and this was such an odd fucking thing. It's like all of a sudden, okay, we've taken the Capitol, kinda. What do we do with it? Well, they didn't do a lot with it. Smashy. They all got their selfies, and then the curfew came out, and finally, Trump waited way too long to come out and say, everybody go home. And he got banned off Twitter. Like, they shut off his fucking Twitter because he kept saying incendiary things. He wouldn't let it go. And this was where things got really interesting and went in a direction that I didn't expect. The conservatives are jumping out of the Trump ship right now like the fucking Titanic is going down, and it's fascinating to watch because I didn't see that coming, and I don't think the people that went there to protest or whatever this was saw that coming, because this was supposed to be like a two-end thing. Like they were going to go hold the fort, I guess, cause some sort of stir, and then Trump was going to come out and say, this is what we do next, or I don't know, whatever. And then the Senate had to adjourn. They're about to go into the process of talking about how they're going to address these recounts and how they've gone, tallying them up. In fact, I just watched one that they just reconvened at 8:00, so they didn't even stop that. And there was one senator that, probably more at this point, it's been going on and on, that came out and straight up said, we were going to look into it a little bit more, but after this bullshit, fuck you, we're not doing it. Republicans.
Wow.
Pence, Vice President Pence, came out and was saying some shit that didn't look flattering to Donald Trump, so Trump started blasting him. And in his speech to open the Senate tonight, I don't know if you guys saw that, there was no mention of Donald Trump at all, as if he wasn't even president anymore. And Pence went and put on his Twitter page a picture of the new president and vice president.
No, Pence did that?
Yeah, go to his Twitter page right now. So, but it's not just him. This is a huge thing. But this is the first time, honestly. I don't know why it never occurred to me before, but this is the first time I realized how big of a split there really was amongst conservatives concerning Donald Trump. But holy shit, was where there was a wedge before, there's a huge chasm now, because even the good old boys are coming out and saying, get the fuck out of the Capitol, you dipshits. What are you doing? Like, enough is enough. And, Trump just won't let it go. And I think 4 or 5 people of his cabinet quit today when he started tweeting. And he was like, they realized he wasn't going to do everything he could to make this go away quickly, make these people leave quickly and safely. But he didn't do it before someone got killed. And then you start seeing everybody just start jumping ship, and it's really fucking fascinating. It's like, I don't think that's how they planned it. I got
late into it because I got on the news feed and I kind of saw things were going on, so I went back to find out what was going on. Mm-hmm. And that was the first thing I saw was the president, or Trump, saying, hey, it's been a good run, get the fuck home, knock this.
Yeah, he did it eventually.
But even in that message, he was like, our election was stolen from us. We understand.
That's the thing. He won't let that go. Even though all of the people, well, not all of them, but most of the people around him at this point His own cabinet. They're saying, dude, they looked into it. We all looked into it. There's no fraud. There's nothing going on. Yeah, we found some snafus here and there, but not enough to make it, a rigged election. It's time to let it go. And like everyone was ready to do that before. They're extra ready now. Trump is on an island right now, and he's still got followers, but I just find it fascinating that this, you know what, I got to say, one of the most, and again, this is coming from somebody who just kind of hates everybody. I'm not a conservative, not a Democrat. I vote with my heart if I fucking vote, and that's rare these days because I hate this. I hate the system of this country, and I have a hard time going along with it. A lot of people think that the liberals are hogs in shit right now because Joe Biden's president. There aren't many people out there that are terribly excited that Joe Biden is president. They're happy that Donald Trump lost, but they're not happy about Joe Biden. That's my point. It's like, how many times do we have to do this bullshit where we vote? We have to vote for someone that we hate.
Guess what? I was so into voting for Biden. I ain't gonna fucking fly a flag in my yard that says Biden or anything crazy like that. I'm not gonna wear a fucking hat. It's just crazy.
To me, the most accurate and my favorite political campaign flag that I've ever seen in the history of my life is Biden sucks. Vote for Biden. That's the most honest partisan campaign poster I've ever seen. But anyway, what I wanted, just one thing I want to point out that occurred to me that I thought was the second biggest thing that they probably did not expect today was that, and John Mark saw this coming before any of us did, or at least I did. He was like, TikTok on, the conspiracy theories that this was BLM or Antifa. How do you fucking say it? I guess it doesn't matter. It's a made up word. Antifa. Dressed up like Trumpsters to make Trumpsters look bad. Those theories got going almost immediately after John Mark said that. I noticed them on my own friends' Facebook pages. Like people were, starting to post that, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And going back to that person that we were talking about earlier, I know they're not Antifa. I know that they're 100% one of these Trumpsters that went to our own Capitol. They didn't. I don't think they stormed the building there, but they went there to protest, and they were part of the whole thing. They hate Antifa. They have made Antifa like the boogeyman of like the biggest boogeyman in recent times. And the thought that a huge portion of their own base is now accusing them of being Antifa, I thought, that's fucking hilarious. Come on. I don't care what side you're on. You have to appreciate the irony of that. The whole thing was just bungled because, again, they had taken part of the fucking Capitol. So for a while, we were all like, holy shit, what are they going to do? What's going to happen? Well, nothing really happened. They just kind of left, which, don't get me wrong, I'm thrilled that nothing, no violence, nobody else died. They're not still in there, and we got like a hostage thing going on or standoff thing going on. I'm glad that that's not happened. But they had the opportunity to do that, and they just left. So it's like, well, what was that?
Right.
That's not a revolution.
You think it would have happened on the other way around? That's kind of like what you were, what I was going to say anyway, was the fact that the Democrats like to at least steal some swag and some shoes, and we like to steal the Republicans
looting.
like to take pedestals, probably like flag pictures.
This is some lame ass looting, man.
Yeah,
like I can get behind a plasma, but a fucking podium, yeah, really, really strange. And now, once the curfew was imposed, they just kind of started leaving. And like I said, now it just seems like it really felt like today was Trump's last stand. And it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes tomorrow, because they're never going to get this chance again. Like they had their chance. Now, all of those breachable places are going to be doubled or tripled up.
I would knock on wood when you say that.
Well, I guess in this day and age, I'll be surprised if they get another chance at that. If they
I
Not-
really
If we
don't
wake
know.
up tomorrow and they're back
not
in the
this year,
Capitol, I'll be
maybe.
surprised.
Not this year, maybe, but this sets a precedent, right? So it's like, oh look, so either someone's gonna have to fucking take notice of this and be like, this can never fucking happen again, and take steps to make sure it doesn't, or it'll happen again and it'll actually work. You know what I mean? If there was actually
Like
some
it's a dry run.
competency behind all this bullshit, it would have been a very different story today, because there was people in there with like zip ties. They were waiting to take hostages and shit. Like shit would have been bad if they hadn't got the Congress people out of there.
Yeah, they found a lot of Jimmy rigged explosives. And I got live feeds of the news on right now. So far, it looks like a normal Senate hearing. In fact, they thought it was only going to go for like an hour because of everything being condensed. It's kind of like they're making a stand. It's really interesting. They've all come out. Everybody's come out. Republicans, they've come out and condemned this. George W. got on the horn earlier. It's like, fuck you doing? Get the fuck out of there. That ain't right. George W. ain't even on your side. Who are you guys? That's what I kept saying. It's like, who are you doing this for? It really is for Trump.
They're doing
And
it for
this
Trump, man.
and this person
That's it.
that I was talking about earlier, the videos, I'm trying to avoid a pronoun, but fuck it. She's posting on her TikTok, which I shan't share, are straight up, they're this close. Maybe they're not even distance in any way. It's like Trump worship. It's like a love, a lust, like sexual energy toward this man being presented with the most smarmy presentation. And so much of this is just coming from like, that fuck you mentality. Not this is truly what's best for the nation. Not like you'll thank us later, or revolutionaries just have to sometimes do the unpopular thing. It's all
It's
just
the
like
fuck your
that slow
feelings game.
rolling up your middle finger, like fuck you. We're doing this. But can I tell you what I liked about this? Yes, I did find something to like about it, and this goes back to my initial setup. I want to see massive changes and overhauls in this country. It's just my personal feeling. I think that we could do so much better. And I, like I say all the time, just look at your life, look at everyone's life around you. How many people are thriving as opposed to just getting by? This year has been very illuminating and very educational in a lot of ways that we may have already thought we'd made up our minds on, and all of a sudden we see how other countries have handled it versus how we've handled it, how we could have handled it, being one of the richer nations, being one of the most powerful nations on the planet. And there's just so many, there's still people that haven't gotten a penny of benefits, and they're about to go homeless. But the one thing that is in their favor right now is that they're under the protection of being kicked out of their homes. But the second that is lifted, people are going to be homeless because there's no programs in place for them. Shit like that.
And as soon as we get away from COVID, that, and it becomes more of a norm, those little safety nets are all gonna fall away, unfortunately.
Yeah, and we are depleting the sources that we do have because they've been allocated in a terrible way. They've been handled in a terrible way, and they've been dished out in a nonsensical and unfair way in a lot of instances. So the one glimmer of hope that I had, and that I have had all year, is we're getting like little flames of hints of some sort of revolutionary movement. And maybe these are dry runs. Maybe they are showing other people out there that something can be done. Some chains can be moved. That's a scary thought, but it's also, I don't know, kind of an exciting and an intriguing one if you're like me and you believe that there's a lot of shit that needs to be restructured in this country, and the idea of burning it down and building it back up seems simpler than getting in there and fixing everything that's fucked up. Because I don't think it's really broken. I think it's by design. The system is set up to to serve very few and to tell everybody else to fuck off and go away. All the way down to something as simple as getting unemployment or getting benefits when you're sick or you can't work because there's a fucking pandemic and the governor has told your business to shut down. Fine. Where are the plans to take care of us? Where is the next step to make sure that people can comply? And this is why another reason why I tend to be, sympathetic to people of all walks of life, because everybody is fucking struggling. Everybody can struggle, I suppose. That's a non-denominational thing. That's a non-political thing. And we've learned an awful lot this year about what I think things that we could be doing better. So I feel like this might be like a growing pain, one of many growing pains that we've had this year, maybe towards something better. Doesn't mean it ain't going to get uglier first, though.
For me, I don't think any of that COVID has really affected me besides having to stay away from people and everything else. I mean, obviously it's the obvious. But as financially, and it really hasn't, because, I being sick, I have Social Security and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But think of this, and this is just a bug. This is a virus going around. What the fuck would happen if Yellowstone fucking blew tomorrow?
Well,
how people going to allocate their lives?
That's exactly.
If that blows, we're all dead. That's how big that's going to be, for real. That we're all fucked.
Well, I know. We've learned to Lyle's point. Yeah, we've learned that we're not ready to handle. Think about all the money that we pay our fucking government, and every time there's a snafu, they don't know what to fucking do. They run around like chickens with their goddamn heads off. And somebody put a really great meme of Mitch McConnell the day that he rejected that latest stimulus, and he was like wearing a T-shirt that says "Stop being poor." It's like these people are so fucking disconnected from what real life is for most of us that's not even really that much of a joke. Even the people that really want to do us well, and there are plenty of people in the government that are trying to do well for the people, but they can't get in there and work within that system. That's why, to me, it always seemed like a more logical thing to try something new. But God, how do you fucking do that without some sort of revolution? Now, I'm not saying toppling the statues or breaking into the White House and burning it down literally, but something major needs to shift. And today, I think we saw something that ultimately will be somewhere between 9/11, or not 9/11, but Watergate and I don't know, maybe one of the militias that stormed the federal building. I don't think this is going to go down as something that really changed the country. I think it's something that we'll talk about for a while and we'll remember, but it could be part of a complete breakfast heading towards something bigger. One way or the other.
I sure hope you're right about that. If this doesn't show you that something's got to fucking change, then I don't know what else it's going to take. You know what I mean? Like, this is a pretty fucking big thing. Like, this has never happened before, literally, ever.
Yeah. Well, how many times have we said that this year?
I'm really surprised that it wasn't triple the amount of people, because at a time when a lot of people are suffering and a lot of people wanted money, and Trump was like, hey, no, we're going to give you guys $2,000. And then like a couple days later said, no, we're going to give you $600, of your own taxpayers' money.
Your own fucking money back.
And basically just like a big fuck you to everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The whole thing has been a big fuck you. And
that's why I'm surprised it wasn't like triple as many people there.
We'll see.
I think this puts a very big onus on the incoming administration to actually do something that's not just business as usual. Mm-hmm. Because if they don't start immediately doing shit that shows that they're actually trying to make things different, then there's going to be more more stuff happening. Not like this, but there's going to be more marches and protests and things like that. So,
well, in my mind, I was thinking when I first popped up that it was public property. You know what I mean? So to me, it was like
it's not though. People aren't even
No.
allowed to go in there unless they have very specific permission to go into that place. Like that's not some place that the public can just generally go into, like ever.
Yeah, federal buildings. They have specific laws too, but I was surprised that most of the people that just went in there, if they do get charged with anything, it would just be trespassing. But the people that were there trying to rally everybody up into a bigger fury, those people could be charged with some pretty heavy crimes, even if it didn't work. So a lot of people who are right there on many high definition cameras will be going to jail for this. Many people, and ultimately I just don't think. I'm almost afraid to get on social media and see what these people who were supporting or part of this movement are saying. I can't imagine they actually are walking away from this thinking that it was a W. Because
now they're saying it was Antifa.
Yeah, well, that is like, is that not the most ironic thing for them to be called conspiracy theorists and people who have turned that name into a boogeyman for just anything they can't really describe, making violence. All of a sudden, it's the fucking Twilight Zone, man. This is like a Twilight Zone comeuppance ending. And it seems like maybe this is the perfect exit for Donald Trump. And now they're talking about another impeachment because of things. There's a list of things that he's been doing. Just the tweets at this point could have him impeached again.
It was the only way it really could have ended, man. Like,
well, hey, it's not over yet. He hasn't conceded yet, John Mark.
That's crazy.
I suppose that's what they're still saying.
I've seen tweets from people in like Congress and stuff talking about preparing, like either articles of impeachment or doing the 25th Amendment thing. I mean, it's like shit's not. They're not fucking around.
Yeah, the 25th Amendment. I was seeing that too. Yeah, I don't think that this is all going to blow over, and then people will slowly start jumping back on Donald Trump's platform. I think that the people who jump ship are swimming, and they're going to keep on swimming.
When's his debut to walk away?
2 weeks, I think, is the final day where he has to vacate the office.
That's not too far away.
The 20th is when he's supposed to hand over.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Anyone else have anything they wanted to say on that before we move on to some of these emails that I got back?
I think we covered it.
The only good thing that came about the last week, I think, of anything was that secret little hidden gem that was in that COVID bill that Trump was trying to pass.
Was
with
it the UFO one?
With 2000s. But the full disclosure and what was it, 118 days or something like that of all alien kind of. Well, the thing is that like that didn't pass, so they don't have to comply, correct?
No.
Or did it go through?
No. I wonder about these things that they put through. Well, I'm not 100% sure on that, Lyle. I don't know if that one went through or not. One of them, so many of them got rejected.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was tied in with the bill. So if the bill didn't pass, then it doesn't pass.
No, yeah. But I see all these crazy things that go into these stimulus bills, and they're tied to all sorts of shit, like money going into the Middle East and
huge thing.
Yeah, certain medical things that have nothing to do with COVID at all. It's like what?
I read something interesting about that, and it's that they have to tie it in with whatever bill they were getting ready to send. Basically, so some of it was like, well, this was business as usual, and we have to like just compile it all now and send
So
it.
the
It's like, it's
stimulus
not
is
like,
an addendum to those bills instead of the other way around.
something to that effect. And I could be wrong, but that's what
I
I
have
read in
not
the
heard that.
story.
That would make way more sense.
Yeah, and that's why they were like, the media blows this up, but here's the deal. Like, this is like every time, we had to like bundle it with what we were working on, and or something.
That's how all those bills are. It's a bunch of horse shit.
Yeah, well, that is horseshit. It's like, well, that it makes sense, but at the same time, why are we doing that? Just make a fucking separate bill for the one thing. See, this is the goddamn government, man. Nothing can ever be clear. Nothing could ever be simple. Everything has to be so fucking convoluted. Like when Brian Toohey was on the show talking about his book, Disaster Government, he laid that out brilliantly when he was like, look at how they word things. And remember, he gave us examples of how they would describe like, if you sign here, this is now legal. And it would be like 3 pages of this made up bullshit that was hilarious and like a joke. Like they're joking around with us. They're yanking our fucking dicks because they can. And they just get you. This is why I don't think the system is quote unquote broken. Like when you call to try to get unemployment and you're on hold for 9 days. That's not an accident. That's by design, because they know that at least half of those people are just going to be like, fuck it, and go away. And that's half of their workload taken off of them and half of that money that they don't have to give back to you. I'm convinced that this is by design, because we can fix this shit. We're smart enough. I mean, we can figure out how to blast Saved by the Bell on every fucking continent via some plastic dish in one county in Los Angeles. We can figure out how to fucking do this, but we don't want to. They don't want to. Anyway, my blood pressure. So let's ramp it down here, because last time we spoke, I was talking about asking the public at large, our listeners, what they want from our show. Do they want kind of shows like this where we just shoot the shit about whatever's going on, bring a few news stories, talk about what's going on in our lives? As I imagined, there was a bit of a consensus, a little bit all over the map, but we're going to go ahead and read. We didn't get a ton. I think we got 6 or 7 here. In fact, I need to figure that out, because I'm going to pick one of them. Well, one of you is going to pick one of them, actually, to give away one of my paintings, and they're going to have a choice of a few I got laying around here. So let's start with one. This is the only one that we got that's a voice message, and this is from Ben.
And company, it's Ben, giving you feedback for your feedback request. So I've been listening since Tales from the Space Pod, and by the way, still want that graphic on TeePublic so I can get the old logo on a t-shirt. By the way, I have gotten compliments on the truthiness alien t-shirt I ordered too.
Yes,
that's awesome.
But feedback. So there are
Hate
different
the show.
aspects of the show that I absolutely love. I love news quiz / strange news. I forget what it's called even too. And I love it when, occasionally when you had a guest play or you played on behalf of, of us listeners.
We need to bring that back.
That's a great staple.
Yeah.
And then obviously you guys catching up, just hearing you guys shoot the shit, like that's stuff I personally want to hear. I connect with each one of you guys differently, and I'm sure would smoke a bowl and have a beer, and would love to hang out with each one of you guys, and so to hear what's going on is something that I like finding out about. I love, and I think, for the amount of effort I know you have to put in for some of the specialty shows, doing those on a consistent basis, I think is both comes off as a little hard, but ultimately, I think if you made them more like quarterly or maybe more than 4 a year, more than every other month, you did a special themed one where there was a holiday or whether it's the crazy stories that you gotta mix up, candy stories to make us feel better because it's so fucked up. I absolutely love those. So, honestly, it's one that I don't know that I'm so great about differentiating these different things that you guys plan and put effort forth, or what the different themes are. But, the quiz is great. and I loved the Facebook ones where it was the meow ones and you know definitely the quizzy aspect or the game show aspect is definitely fun for us as listeners. We get to play along at home. I remember when the Patreons were able to play along with the weekly news quiz, and that was a cool aspect too. And I am a YouTube user, so I like when you guys put content there as opposed to Facebook, because I feel like I miss a lot of the Facebook stuff, and especially when it's live. So for what it's worth, you know, I'll give you all the feedback you want, and probably more than you want and need anyway. But just wanted to say, love you guys, love all the effort you put into it, and it shows. And those of us who probably need to do more about spreading the good word about the podcast. Absolutely love everything you guys are putting in for it. So thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ben. I appreciate that. That's good feedback.
Love that guy. Love him. Love you, Ben.
And he's right. I think we should bring back the where we're playing for listeners at home.
You know, he did miss one thing, and it's one of my favorite things.
What's that?
Is original Ron songs at the end of the episodes.
Oh boy, those took some time.
Believe
it or not.
Mole.
Yeah, I did about 15 or 16 or so over the years.
It seemed like it was way more than that.
Yeah,
it seemed like
it
every
is.
episode for like the first year.
No, it was about the first month. Then they got spotty. Yeah, but yeah, like the DB Cooper, and those are all up on the greatest hits page on Bandcamp. talesfromthespacepod.bandcamp.com. You can hear all the early songs. Now that was basically a teaser of everything that's to come, I suppose, because those sentiments are resonated. Now this is from Denise in Paris. Very fancy. I wonder if it's pronounced Denise or some shit. Maybe it's just Denise. She says, I may not be terribly helpful, but I thought I would weigh in as one of those silent but passionate and present fans. Been listening faithfully since 2011, almost since the beginning. And love all you guys do. But since you are forcing my hand, I will say that I tend to love the soup de jours. Thank you for spelling that right, by the way. DE space JOWER. Over the interview shows. But Ron asks great questions that always get interesting answers, so it's a close call. News trivia is always fun, but honestly, all of those things are icing on the cake. It's just fun to hang out with you all every week. We miss you when you are gone. I don't feel that way about any of my other podcasts, and that's because we don't get to know those hosts like we have gotten to know you guys. It's somewhere between family, friends, and voyeurism, which I can relate to. So that's my 2 cents. She says, the important takeaway is just keep putting them out. We'll be here. Thank you, Denise. This is very sweet.
Yeah.
And kind of how I thought they would go in terms of, at this point, you know, one of the reasons I think the show has a hard time growing is because we do talk about our own lives. Usually in the earlier part of the show, and I think that might alienate new listeners, and they don't stick around unless we just happen to be talking about something that immediately gets their interest, and they tune in for a topic show that we get to 30 minutes into it. And then we've played around with that format before, and ultimately we just decided to stick with this one. And if we're going to do it, we're going to do it the way we want to do it. Moving on, Russ says, hey guys, I know I'm too late for the painting. By the way, you're not, because I put you in. Just wanted to say I do love the open format. I've listened to all of the old shows except the Black Death show, as it had a download error. I'll have to look into that. Although if it's not on the database, I certainly wouldn't have it downloaded anywhere. I was on some laptop that died probably 10 years ago. I enjoy the conversation. After listening to as much content, I feel almost like I'm listening to my friends at a poker table. The shake-up of the new games at the end is also pretty cool. Top 100s and such. Yeah, I like that too. I hope you all continue to put out this fun shit on a regular basis. I found the Space Pod when you had Brad Harris on, so I was a late arrival. But that wasn't too late. That was quite a while ago. But that came at a time when I was having some personal stuff going on that was not very positive, and listening to you all helped me through some pretty shitty times. Thanks again, and let's all hope that 2021 does not suck. Indeed. Thank you so much, Russ. And we're off to an interesting start. We can't know. It's too early to call, shall we say. And finally, Brad in Ohio simply says, shooting the shit episodes are by far my favorite, but they all hold my interest. Quizzes and games are always fun because we can play along. So, as I anticipated, we will probably be doing more and more where we just show up with some news stories, show up with some stories like, holy shit, you guys won't believe what happened to me in line at Fred Meyer this time. Seems like most of my stories are grocery store related. Remember when I had interesting stories about Radar? And I know y'all miss Janice stories, my old tenant. But
fuck yeah, I do.
Exactly.
Who doesn't?
You're on your own there.
I will never
occasionally.
I will never forget the image in my head of some Santa Claus looking fucking dude in a convertible driving her away.
I got a picture of that shit. That's on my old Instagram, the Boron Films one, I think. I gave it the tag, my tenants, clients, quote unquote, seem to be increasing in esteem or whatever. But yeah, fucking Santa Claus
Ho, ho, ho.
came out of her house at like 6:30 in the morning. I was getting ready to go to work.
Best
Got in his
time.
car and drove off. Oh, that woman. So, thank you all for that feedback. We will keep trucking along pretty much how we are, but maybe a few less soup de jours. And I like that idea because that gives me more time to really pack a punch and research some of these stories. If we're going to do them, you got to do them now. You know, you're competing with fucking 48 hours in Dateline. By the way, I just signed up to the Peacock app.
Oh my.
And playing around there. 3 things that probably won't interest anyone else. Well, 2 things that likely won't interest anyone else, and 3 that may. The first one that may is, I don't know if it's every single season of Dateline, but it's like 20-something, so it's probably close. Of Dateline NBC is available. You know, all those investigations, and we're all murder and true crime crazy right now. So holy shit, is there a treasure trove of them shits right there. Worth signing up for a $5 a month app anyway. But the other 2 that I discovered were that classic shows, like the old time NBC shows, like Leave It to Beaver and Dennis the Menace from the 50s and 60s are on there. Holy shit, I was so happy to learn that. I was like, you know, this may be changing my mind about jumping ship onto some of these network, as opposed to, you know, Netflix licensing out some of the networks. Now you got to pay $5 or $7 for the individual networks. Like, God, if we get like the old shit, like we can go all the way back. Sarah and I just started watching reruns of Survivor. Some of those are on Amazon, but a lot of them are going to be on the CBS
This is why you can't
app.
ever watch current good shit. You're fucking rewatching Survivor episodes. Oh my God.
I would be the same way. Like, put me on an old MacGyver series. I'd watch
Yeah.
8.
Speaking of
Fuck yeah.
true crime, have any of you guys watched the Autopsy series on HBO?
Oh,
No.
but back in the one that goes all the way back to like the 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I had that on the other day, basically all day. I was like, "Fuck, man."
It's
kinda-
it's fucking. I was ahead of
it was
its
kinda-
time with what it
It was
shows
kind of
you.
rough. It was kind of rough. I was just like, "Man, geez, this is kind of depressing me."
Yeah, I remember one girl that got like raped and strangled. They cut open her stomach and found that she'd been eating like there was Indian food in there. So
yeah.
they traced it. So they knew that she had eaten at this one particular restaurant, and that led to the rest of the chain in the investigation. But they showed it. They showed them cutting the stomach in half, and there's all the fucking food.
Yeah,
Ooh, that was ahead of its time, man.
There's a nostalgic thing about watching old TV shows and just how they're produced. And if you're into it, you know, if you're into producing and like making videos and making movies and shit like that, if you study it, man, it is really fascinating because they had to do a lot of stuff, you know, and then you know, as it kind of relaxed a little, you know, in the 90s, you got CGI. No, don't worry about it. We'll just do it on a green screen, and you know, it just evolved itself into its own self. But if you go back, like the old MacGyver series, you know, the A-Team, shit like that, and MASH, you know, it's it still holds up, and it's amazing.
I wonder
It's
if
fascinating.
MASH is NBC. I think that might
Just
be.
cut it up and
CBS.
just look how it was produced, how it was filmed. You know, the lighting, all that stuff. It's great.
Yeah, MASH is considered to be one of the greatest TV series of all time.
Sure.
I want to finish this up. I just want to get the winner here. So we got. I'm giving these all numbers, and Lyle, since. Well, since nothing, I'm just going with you. You're going to pick the winner. So I've assigned a number to each one of these. Make sure I got them all. So we got Ben, Denise. I missed one. Okay, real quick. This is Danielle. She says, I never usually get a chance to provide any feedback regarding the podcast because while I do listen to all the episodes, I'm usually listening a couple weeks behind, but recently was sick at home for a month with COVID. Ew. Hopefully that came to
Ew.
Ew. Boom, boom. I personally like the themed shows a lot, but I have also been listening for many years, and I'm equally happy just listening to you guys shoot the shit. Maybe you could try doing a theme show every other podcast or something, and either way, I'll be listening. Take care, Danielle. Thank you so much for that, Danielle. So you're on the list here. And so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So Lyle, pick a number between 1 and 5.
Oh, that's easy. It's 3.
No, that's our boy Ben.
Benny boy.
Benny boy. I'm happy about that because he has been a pretty long time listener and and he's bought our merch and given us great feedback even before I went fishing for it. So Ben, I'll reach out to you. We're friends on Facebook, and I'll give you a sampling of the paintings, and you can choose yourself a Ron Evans original that will hang on your wall and will be worth tens of dollars as soon as I die. Which TikTok. I've been smoking too many cigars, but
yeah. Thanks again to everyone that gave us some feedback. It was really nice to hear that stuff.
Yeah,
And
it's also nice to know that the bulk of the shows, at least for a good while, are going to be easier because Ben was right, researching those shows and presenting them, quite honestly, in an interesting and organized way. That's a challenge, and I don't get to have as much fun on those episodes, although I do like blowing your guys' mind with some of those tales that I look up. So I'm going to keep that going for sure because I enjoy them, but I think I can do better with them if they were once or twice a month at the most, and the rest of the show will probably just be more news oriented, a lot like this one, a lot like last week. Or 2 weeks ago, whenever. Sorry, we missed another one. Holidays, etc. It'll get better. So, I think let's jump to some weird trivia and get out of here, huh?
all right, you guys. Y'all ready for this?
Oh, wait, I got it confused. Jamar?
John Mark
I feel
was
like John
definitely
Mark isn't ready for it.
John Mark. I didn't feel it at all. I didn't take me there.
Y'all ready for bugs?
All right. Here's the deal. It's been kind of a heavy day.
Sure.
I wanted something a little light for us. So I have 8 questions here, and it's all kind of wonky trivia. Nothing too news heavy. Let's have some fun. All right. You all ready for this?
There
There it is. John Mark. There we go. All right. All right. Question 1.
Yes.
True or false? Redheads tend to have a higher bone density than people who have any other hair color.
Oh, that's interesting.
It seems a little racist.
Spoiler alert.
Racist.
One of y'all might have a leg up in this. One of y'all might know.
I think I might be, I think I might.
Ronster.
Well, the reason I thought it might be me, as you know, Mo, that girl, she's not what you would call tall and not super thick, but that girl weighs a ton because she just have this fucking dense, muscly, she's the one that pointed it out to me, and I was like, come on. And I tried to pick her up and like, holy shit. And she's as redhead as they get. So now she said it was something to do with her muscles. But well, I've had first-hand experience.
All right.
They
Interesting.
have the muscly redhead who
John
does
Mark.
not look muscly.
Well, I'm going to say that, knock on wood, I've never broken a bone in my life, so I'm going to say it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating.
Mhm.
All right, Lyle.
I'm gonna go because I know. Well, I'm kind of aware. I don't know if I know. A lot of redheads actually have a very high pain tolerance, but I don't know about bone density. So I'm gonna say no.
Oh, I think she's got a high pain tolerance too.
Lyle's going to go with false. Okay. Question 2. McDonald's plans to release its meat-free burger this year. All these fast food places are going with like the Impossible Whopper, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Well, McDonald's is right behind them. The plant-based burger already has a name. What is it going to be called? Is it A, the McPlant?
Mm-hmm.
Is it B?
I never could do that on a ramp.
Yeah, you were too on to. They had the face plant down.
And the spit joke, apparently.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was my signature skate move, the face plant.
Let me go with this. Is it?
with my hat, kid?
Oh, Jesus.
I'm never telling stories again ever.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Get back here with my chair, dignity.
Why do I love sharing my stupid life with strangers?
No, I was dyslexic.
More interesting than an ours, Ron. We love it. Okay, was it A, the McPlant? B, the Mick Unreal? The
Mick Unreal.
So unreal. It's
Mick
so
Unreal.
good. So unreal.
It's unreal. It's a Mick Unreal. Is it C, the Mick Miracle?
Oh, it is a miracle. Coming this summer. Hold on to your pants.
Or is it D,
The Mick
the Mick Mirage?
Oh, and if they had Mickey Mirage actually sponsor it. Oh,
Mick Mirage.
wow.
So again, McPlant,
Okay.
Mick Unreal, Mick Miracle, or Mick Mirage?
Wait, Lau, who's Mickey Mirage?
Nikki, sorry, not Nicki Mirage.
Oh, Nicki Minaj?
Yeah.
All right.
That would be a stretch, but I've seen stretched her.
Look at my burger. It's got no meat in my burger. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, those all aren't great.
Wow.
I like McMiracle, but that doesn't. Boy, make a plant. We live in such an age where they might actually go with McPlant. So I'm gonna go A.
All right.
There's your McPlant saying we don't want you to get confused. It's the McPlant.
Yeah.
McPlant has the ring of truth to me, so I'm going to go with that as well.
Yes, it rings
Oh,
true.
what was B real quick?
B was Mick Unreal.
We're going unreal.
All right.
You're not going with Mickey Mirage, the famous.
The humor, the idea.
It sounds like a porn star that looks like Nicki Minaj.
Good.
Are you loving it?
Listen to the rap.
There's got to be McDonald's porn out there.
Oh,
I'm loving it.
Okay. All right.
Focus.
Question 3.
what if it was what if it was Ronald McDonald's fucking from Wendy from Wendy's?
Dude, you might be on something. I would watch the Burger King
I'm sure it's
and Ronald McDonald, Double D, Double A, Wendy.
Then the hamburger shows up.
Why-
Oh,
why
it's not a
just-
burger.
Eating fast food.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm way distracted now.
Where are we at?
Fuck this.
Sorry. Get it.
All right. Question 3. No, I'm just like, we could just keep talking about these people fucking.
We need to remember some of these ideas we have come up with on the show. We need to start writing this shit down, because if nothing else, I could paint that. I could paint sex orgies with. That's probably been done, but I haven't seen it. I'll look
Do
it
that.
up.
Do that one, and then have the California raisins right in front, and have them the monkeys, where I see no evil, speak evil, hear no evil.
California raisins always gave me the creeps.
Just that clown Burger King giving Wendy the old
With the rabbit
Your
ponytail.
secret sauce. Uh-huh.
Oh, man.
Yeah, this is the creepiest porn of all time. A clown, a plastic-faced king. Fucking Wendy. Wendy's usually portrayed as being cute, although is she of age? She looks a little young in those logos. Anyway, moving on.
All right. Question 3. True or
The Colonel shows up. Popping that chicken.
I knew we were missing something key. Wait a minute. Only 10 herbs and spices. Zip.
Fast.
9, 10. All right.
Rich
Sorry,
or
Chris.
spicy. I like to,
Chris is just
put that
shredded.
butter
The
in
rest
my
of his
chicken
list.
with that spicy.
Oh my God.
I'll tell you,
Okay.
I'm going to do this.
Where we
I'm gonna
at?
Make this an art project. Question 3.
Question 3. True or false? Bilinguals' personalities change depending on the language they're speaking. True or false?
Their personality. Boy, I'm tempted to say true, but I don't think it would be their personality. I think it would be their demeanor, which is not the same thing. I'm going to call semantics on it and go false.
Okay. John Mark?
I missed the question. I accidentally dropped off the call. What was up?
Oh, you missed some gems.
True or false? Bilinguals' personalities change depending on the language they're speaking.
Ego.
I could argue that semantically to say that it's true, but I don't know if it's what they're really going for there.
Yeah, that's how I said it. If it's true, it's probably because they're basing it on demeanor change or your tone change. Of course, that could change, but not who you are as a person.
I will say false because I don't think your basic personality is going to change.
I now want to know if you could say that in Bangladesh.
Yeah, say it in Bangladesh there, John Mark.
And it will.
If he says it all like with the bright disposition, it's like, holy shit.
It's
I
true.
don't remember enough of that stuff.
Yeah, but it's true.
Wow,
Going
what
true.
say you? Well, you think it's true?
No, well, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I think it might. If you're, I don't know, if you had to live a lifestyle to learn a certain way, you know, and it wasn't really educated down as a learning process, you know what I mean? You learn a language in school or learn a language properly. There's one way, but then there's this kind of like the slang way of just hanging out and just processing it all. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna, you're gonna develop a little bit, you know, kind of like a New York guy. You fuck yourself, you mother, you know.
Not a
All
bad
right,
little
okay.
analyze. Mm-hmm.
All right. Question 4. Now, this is interesting, gents, because I do believe I have worked this into News Quiz at some point before, or Ron has, because I do remember this coming up. So if you, the memory banks are serving you well, you might have a leg up here. Okay. 4.
Slowly puts leg down.
Cats headbutt you as a sign that they trust you. It's a process that's called A. Tabbing. Tabbing. It's a pleasant sounding tabbing. Is it B?
Tab.
Marking.
Your cat's gonna mark on you, right on your
Yeah,
forehead.
I've seen that too.
Is it C? Torting.
You just got torted on.
Torting?
Torting.
like tortilla?
Tortillas.
Rting. Torting.
Okay.
Or is it B? Oh, excuse me. D. Bunting.
Bunting. Boy.
So tabbing, marking, torting, or bunting. One of these is the actual name for when they give you the old headbutt.
Well, God.
I call it.
None of them sound familiar at all. Well, marking, I mean, isn't that like just primating misting a little bit the old spunk? Piss.
I call it yeeting.
Bunting, tabbing, marking. What was it? Was there what was D?
Torting. C was
Torting.
torting.
Oh, C was torting. I don't know that word at all, so I'm going with torting.
Okay.
It's when turtles do it backwards.
Torting.
John Mark.
Backwards.
I don't know. Bunting is probably the sports herring, but I'm gonna go with bunting.
Yeah, bunting.
Lyle.
I feel like I lost a lot of jokes there. They're pretty funny. 14
I
was
feel
when,
like I have
when
been
turtles do it backwards, you know? I'm going to go Mark.
Marking. Okay.
Jordan.
You've been Mark.
Question 5. True or false? Once during an experiment at a university, a robot fish was accepted by a group of fish and eventually became their leader. True or false? Need it again?
Yeah,
Is this
one more
an anagram
time.
for something real?
Once during an experiment at a university, a robotic fish was accepted by a other group of fish and eventually became their leader.
I'll say true. I could see that.
Ronster says true. Okay. John Mark?
Yeah, fuck it. That sounds like it could be a thing.
Yeah,
True.
okay.
It will be our new god.
Lyle?
Damn, that guy could swim. We're going with that, yeah. No, yeah.
He's
So,
the champion.
he hasn't stopped flapping his flippers since he got here.
Call him
Okay.
the boner champ.
Question 6.
Boner, yeah.
Oh, that's right. We got an
How's
epic
your-
length one.
Ronster, how's your Russian accent?
Oh, offensive.
Perfect. I'd like you to act out each of these.
Act them out. Okay, I'll do my best.
In 1994, former Russian President Boris Yeltsin got drunk during a White House visit and wandered into the streets of Washington. Secret Service agents found him A. Trying to buy flowers for his dead mother.
Roses. I told you.
Fair enough. All right.
Roses.
B. Trying to give a group of 5th graders drinks of his vodka.
Listen, boy. It's either a sip or the zip. I lost the accent, but I got the words.
Oh my god.
You take the zip or you take the sip.
Lyle speaking German. Cool.
Oh, we're doing
Just,
Schnell. Was it?
No,
They found him.
it's not the game.
They found him snuggling a stray dog in an alley.
I've done that before.
that's a good boy. I don't know what accent I'm doing.
I don't either, but I love it.
It's an
Never-
accent. We can agree on that.
Well, you only have one more, and I believe you can do it with one word.
Okay.
Was it D? Yelling for a taxi while in his underwear.
Ah!
Oh my god. Okay, to recap.
Wow, these are all great.
Thank you. In 1994, former Russian President Boris Yeltsin got drunk at a White House visit and wandered into the streets of Washington. Secret Service agents found him trying to buy flowers for his dead mother, trying to give a group of 5th graders drinks of his vodka, snuggling a stray dog in an alley, or yelling for a taxi in his underwear. What are you going to go with, Ronster?
I'm going to go with the dog. I'd like to
All
think
right.
that I would have heard about the underwear business, although the rose one's a subtle stray. I'm going to go with the dog.
All right, okay.
Yeah, you ever
John.
notice how, like, people who are, like, dictatorish, they love their dogs.
It's true. Except for Trump.
What, does he not like a dog?
No, he doesn't. It's the first president not to have a dog at the White House.
Does he have a cat?
I don't think he has any animals. I think
Fucking
he cares
monster.
for only himself.
Can't believe I voted for him. I mean, what?
Yeah.
Bangladesh tigers and shit.
Yeah, somebody get a fucking... This is Mike
Secret
Tyson.
wall or something.
Imagine what that guy would do with the White House. It's an albino tiger.
Okay, John Mark.
It knows karate.
Sabaka. No, actually, I think that's Russian for dog, because recently we watched this show on Netflix. It's We Are the Champions, and it's like it's all these crazy competitions, and it's narrated by Rainn Wilson. I highly recommend it. We binged the whole thing in an afternoon, and there was one episode about dog dancing. You guys heard of this?
No.
It's where you dance with a dog, and it's amazing. And
Are you high?
no,
Right now.
no, but the world, basically the world championship team is from Russia, and they kept saying Sabaka, and I figured out, I think that's Russian for dog, and I had a friend who had a dog named Sabaka, and I wonder if that's why he named it that. You know what I mean? Anyways, I'm going with the flowers.
Oh my god! Wow, misdirection.
Yeah.
So much misdirection.
By the way, before we move on, I know one word really well in Russian because of Basaya, the Russian pop star that played at Radar. Ron, hold the camera, make it look good. Yeah? Yeah? No?
Yeah.
Man.
That's good. Yeah.
Ron. I feel real strong about the Ron part. It's kind of like Lyle's impersonation in reverse. Ron.
Okay, Lau.
Turtles. I like turtles. Oh, sorry. We were playing a game here.
This one's tough.
No, it's not. I think if
Let me tell you how easy this is. You fools.
You're talking to an 11 ringer here.
you gotta think,
Yeah.
he's a communist. He's a real kind of like, fuck man, this is shit. I'm drinking and I'm all fucked up, but I feel remorse for the things I've done because mother, I wasn't there for you when you needed me the most. I was too busy running the country.
Oh, maybe the
But
rose
I'd like
was for
to get-
Mother Russia.
I'd like to get you some flowers.
Hmm.
Yeah, I could see the guy's probably he's an emotional drunk, right? Any other day, he's a walking fucking statue. You can't make that fucker flinch. Like it's drunk.
But he's
on
a
some good-
mama's boy.
and
I
he's
can see
mom-
that. Sure.
wanting his mama back, and there's nothing wrong
Mama's
with
love.
that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
To a degree.
So good.
Okay, we got two more here, guys.
I'm not
True or
feeling
false?
good about this.
I'm looking at your score. I can see why. True or false? Unrefined aluminum is actually the shiniest metal known to man.
Unrefined. I'm going to say false. I think that would be mercury.
Okay.
John Mark.
Mm,
I mean, how do you get shinier
well,
than the
I'm gonna say-
T1000 in the liquid
I'm gonna say
form?
false. False.
Okay. Lyle?
The strangest thing actually kind of happened to me the other day. I was doing a little bit of research about spark plugs, and initially,
Like how you said that.
initially,
Spark
spark
plugs.
plugs were they were copper, and then they went to what was it, platinum,
Mm-hmm.
and then they went to a thing called iridium, and it was a stepping because of it was tensile strength and also the heat. The copper wouldn't last very long. They only last a few years, 5-10 years. Platinum spark plugs will last close to 10 years and maybe up 15, maybe a little bit longer. But the iridium spark plugs will actually last almost 200,000 miles. Which could be almost a lifetime on a car.
I'm surprised they didn't go with the one in the middle. It's like, we don't want this to die too soon. But we want them coming back for more spark plugs.
Oh, well, the newer cars nowadays are really almost impossible to change spark plugs. They basically morphed the motor
Impossible
around the
to
spark
change
plugs
anything.
to keep them so non-accessible. You have to rip everything
It's got to
apart.
get a new engine.
Oh yeah, or basically get a new car.
Yeah, I miss
Say that-
being able to work on cars. I was good
When
at
I
it.
was, I luckily still able to do it, but just because my car's a little older.
Mhm.
But there was a distinct color change, even with the iridium super bright. So I'm going to say false.
You think the iridium might be the shiniest, huh?
Well, I think there's other elements out there that are probably shinier.
The only shiny metal I can even think of is mercury. Aluminum shiny, but I can't think of what it looks like in its natural state, which is
Yeah.
funny because I'm exactly 8 miles away from one of the biggest aluminum plants in the country.
I think aluminum and silver and mercury are all about the same.
Well, I'm interested to see.
Pretty close.
Okay, last question here. And I'm very fond of this. Question 8. Bill Hader once worked at a movie theater before he made it big. But sadly, he was fired for spoiling the end of this movie to people who were entering to watch it. So basically, people were coming in and he shouted the end of the movie out to them and spoiled it.
It's hilarious.
What was the movie? Excuse me. Was it A, The Sixth Sense?
That was one of the first that came to my mind.
Was it?
So you got to do the math about how old he would be too.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Yeah, was it B, The Empire Strikes Back?
Oh.
Was it C, The Usual Suspects?
Wasn't that?
Okay.
Or was it D, he spoiled the ending to Titanic?
There just wasn't enough room for old
ship sinks. I guess.
Mhm.
I guess for people who don't follow history. Well, I'm going back to the date thing. I feel like he's a pretty young guy. I think I'd be too young to. Boy, I'm torn between Empire and what was the other one?
Sixth Sense, Usual Suspects, Titanic.
I'm going to go with the Usual Suspects.
Okay. John Mark, what are you feeling, buddy?
He might have been too young for Empire and too old for Usual.
Yeah, it was a toss-up for me between Usual Suspects and Sixth Sense, but I'm kind of leaning towards Usual Suspects
Didn't
too.
Sixth Sense come out like? I feel like he would have already been probably.
I can't remember, man.
He
Like
might
that
not
whole
have broke.
fucking time period's kind of a blur, so I don't know.
He might be young enough for that to make sense. Yeah. Wow.
Oh, hey. The only thing I could come up with is how it would feel to be spoiled in those
Yeah.
movies. And the one that would outrageous you the most,
Uh-huh.
I think, is it would probably, because the Sixth Sense was a fucking great watch. It was good because they got
That's not a bad way to look at it.
it was something for me that was really tormenting. Fucking Titanic's fucking 4 hours long. Could you imagine sitting there through 3 hours of it and then somehow some dickwipe fucking say, hey, by the way, fucking Billy's gonna go in the ocean and die.
Yeah, that ship's gonna sink. Oh God.
Fucking goes down with the diamond.
Billy.
Fuck.
Oh, Billy!
Well, Billy Zane, I guess, did. Oh, no, Billy Zane's character lived, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because he's Weasley.
Oh yeah, I'm a girl. Let me go on the boat too.
I'm a girl. All right.
So yeah, say Titanic, because that would be the hardest one to, because you took the time and you dedicated the time to watch it all until the very.
But in the pantheon of spoilers, like, I don't know. I think you're on the right track thinking about what would be the most. God, that makes me think it's the Sixth Sense, actually, because that's a good spoiler
But yeah,
one.
but that's
Because
like an hour.
what would you spoil about Empire? That Han Solo gets frozen? Spoiler.
I'm your father.
Luke, I'm your father.
Oh yeah. Isn't that funny? It's such an old cliche at this point that I forgot that at one point, of course, that would have been the spoiler. Huh.
Yeah.
I
That's
guess
funny.
he actually only says, no, I'm your father. I guess he doesn't say, Luke, I'm your father. He says, no, I'm your father. But whatever. It's the same thing.
See, that would give me enough. If I was watching Star, I would probably get up and leave. So,
If you were watching, if there's one. All right, well, let's see what we got.
go with Titanic, yeah.
Okay. I'm tabulating.
Motherfucker spoiled Titanic for me. It just sounds hilarious. Oh, by the way, Chris, I finally booked. It's been harder to book people for the game show than I thought, but I finally booked the third game show, which means you will be coming back soon because whoever wins that one will be in the championship. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man.
And I am so excited, and I will offer up as prize to the championship winner that lovely painting that Brittany that I paid her handsomely to paint.
Oh, that is a
yeah, that's history.
that is a prize.
Is that
And
Ron
it's
Tubb?
I don't, it's been above my bed for 3 weeks now, and it's
And
gonna be hard to let go of.
You're
but
spent. You're spent upon it.
okay, okay, let's
Is
go
it
over the
Ron
answers.
Tubb? The painting?
I would never give
Do
that
not
up.
commission.
Oh.
Do not commission that painting. That means someone else
Okay.
has to see it.
Let's fucking do this. Let's go over the answers, see how you guys did. This is fun, right? Lighthearted.
Yeah,
Easier.
this ended up
Think
actually
about
being a
politics.
pretty fun show, I think. Second half.
All right. True or false? Redheads tend to have a higher bone density than people who have any other hair color. That is false. Fucking make
damn.
that shit up. But Lyle said that doesn't sound real. False. Well, he gets a point. Ding.
Shit.
Very much. Mhm.
Looking great already.
Question
2021 ain't
two.
going to be my year for... We'll get her done next year, y'all.
Start
I
planning
win.
now.
Retire, so you guys know. So you guys know that if I win tonight, I'm going to retire champion, all-time champion.
Won't be
Just
able to wear
retired.
your
Just, yeah,
jersey.
okay.
I'll come back though. Don't,
we come out of retirement before we
I
were
will.
retired champ.
but
For
that's
one
not until
glorious week.
next week.
Mhm.
Don't get too excited yet. I've seen your score too.
Oh damn!
One out of 8. Like, I am the greatest.
Dudes, have them all.
Question 2: McDonald's plans to Nope. McDonald's plans to release its meat-free burger this year and already has a catchy, snazzy name, or they think so. The McPlant.
Oh, yeah.
Coming to a Mickey D's near you. Ron and John Mark got that correct for a point of pop.
Why not like the Mick Better or the Mick?
The McBetter.
You know what I mean? It's just a little, hey, we got one up on you.
McPlant, the only reason I went with that is because it does seem like we're in that kind of marketing era where people are just like,
this is what you're gonna get.
yeah, like it's a joke. Hmm.
Yeah.
But also
it's,
clear, you know what you're getting.
Tie game right now.
All right.
All right, true or false? Bilinguals' personalities change depending on the language they're speaking. This was a uber fact thing for me, and I did not delve deep enough into it. I'm going to give you, well, let's see here. No, I'm just going to give Lyle the point. Sorry, guys. House rules.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, that's
Semantics
I don't
on
know
that
what
one
you're
are
going
just-
on.
Lyle
Well, who
gets the point.
knows? I mean, maybe there is some science behind it, but
So what? It's true.
It is true. Well, that's what I got. I didn't, and like I said, I did not take the time to delve into it to have the semantics resolved. Anyways, question.
everybody drink every time we
4.
said semantics tonight.
All right. Lyle gets a point. He pulls into the lead there, buddy. He might be retiring indeed.
Into the lead.
The lead. All right, question 3. Oh, no, that was question 3. Question 4. Cats headbutt you as a sign that they trust you and love you. That process is called bunting.
God damn it.
Mark got a point there, tying him up with.
Not to be
Wow.
confused
I ain't
with hunting.
I am not
Ron.
going to go bunt my cat.
Hunting your cats at home. Don't do
I
it.
trust you, meow, but you better not bunt me.
One more time,
Wait,
yeah.
what the fuck with the bunting? What with the bunting? We trusted each other, meow. It By the way,
True or
Chris,
fa-
did you get a chance to see the New Year's show?
I still haven't got a chance, man. I feel like such a jerk.
That's a bummer. No, it is what it is. I just think you'll enjoy it, is all.
I am looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Perhaps tonight. Okay, question 5. True or false? Once during an experiment at a university, a robotic fish was entered into a tank filled with a bunch of other fish, and eventually they accepted it, and it became their leader. That was true. You all got that correct. That's what the fucking fish looked like, by the way. And
Robot.
that just cements my theory that fish are dumb as fuck.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, you can't imagine that their vision is super sharp. What Christopher just sent is, and it's a fish. It's shaped like a fish, but it's just white, undefined. They didn't even really bother to give it a fake eye.
Do
Or
you know what
scary.
you did, Chris? Chris, do you know what you have just done? You had faced your fear of the aqua world and put a fish question in news quiz.
That's true. You didn't have to do that.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
I was really hoping
2021.
you guys would see it as a
Cry for help.
blue herring or something.
Oh, right.
Oh,
No,
interesting.
Get it wrong. But
You
y'all
got
got it right.
Red
Thank
herring?
you for recognizing. Thank you for recognizing my strength and my growing
Yeah,
period.
you're growing. It's great.
You
It's
are.
awesome.
We've all grown.
Hmm
Growth.
All right, y'all got that correct. So scores don't change. Question 6.
Great.
In 1994, former Russian President Boris Yeltsin got drunk during a White House visit and wandered into the streets of Washington. Secret Service agents found him yelling for a taxi in his underwear.
Oh boy.
Ah! Taxi!
I'm here, pick me up, I'm here.
Get me to the chopper!
Come on, you guys.
Oh, Boris.
Okay, nobody got that right. Scores do not change.
Boy, that really hurts the throat. Can't do that like I did 10 years ago. That was like a once an episode occurrence back then. Youth.
Well, I'm smoking more. It gets easier.
You can do it. Don't be afraid.
Okay.
Did John Mark give us your best Russian? I've heard everyone.
I got nothing. Ron?
I'm
He's
intrigued.
He's all sneeze.
Wrong.
He's a spy. He is a spy.
It's like, I got nothing. He just goes into like an entire sentence in Russian.
Yeah.
He's like, ooh.
I mean, yeah, I don't know what you say.
I mean,
He just whispers 726, 726, and we forget. Like, ooh. Suddenly I don't
okay.
remember.
Question 7.
26.
True or false?
726.
This one's wacky. All right.
All right. Question 7. True or false? Unrefined aluminum is actually the shiniest metal known to man. That was false. You all got that correct. Nobody said the actual shiniest metal, though. I'm going to give you one more shot for a bonus point. If anyone knows what it is, shout it out.
I always go with gold.
John
Girl.
Mark?
I said gold.
Lyle?
Chromium?
No, it's palladium. Duh, guys. Palladium.
Yeah, you know, palladium.
Unobtainium is the shiniest metal.
And you'll never craft it. What? You'll never obtain it.
Okay, no
Unobtainium.
score change.
Unobtainium.
Somebody in Hollywood got paid $1 million to write unobtainium.
Yep, you'll never obtain it.
Okay, so
Well,
currently
I'm not feeling grand. My feeling was right.
at the Prez, Ron has 3, John Mark has 4, Lau has 4. Last question. Bill Hader once worked at a movie theater before he made it big, but sadly he was fired for spoiling the end of the Titanic.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Lyle.
oh,
This was Lyle's night.
Coming up big, and he called it like Babe Ruth. Just
Is there-
pointed to the fucking stands.
He pointed.
What is there to really?
Well,
what is there to
I
spoil?
like-
I
in
guess
that?
just
I'm
the
going-
Jack
I'd
drowned.
like my
I'm going to
friends,
13 rings tonight on my old sex toy.
friends that like to think, obviously everyone here listening, you've been so much of an inspiration. I don't know what to do. This is great. Thank you very much.
This is the
I'm
greatest
going-
acceptance speech ever. You've all been so much of an inspired.
Bravo! I'm crying. I'm standing and I'm crying.
Yeah, this
I'm
was
clapping.
this was a thing of beauty.
You too.
Titanic.
Two men in black in the back. Yes, you too. I want to appreciate you too. You men in black, the top men.
Though the timeline does fit. I guess it was about the same time that Usual Suspects came out. But holy shit! Yeah, he must have just stood there and said, "Jack drowns at the end." Jack drowns at the end.
See, that's not how I took it. I took it as he goes, you know, the ship sinks at the end, right? Like, or something like that. Like, probably an ironic.
Well, that
funny
was why
thing.
I was laughing about it. But they can't.
I can see him doing that actually.
Yeah.
Just saying that the ship sinks at the end.
Let's kind of get a little like, but you already knew that, yeah. I mean, didn't you know that?
That's fucking funny.
That's all I'm
He was
saying.
probably already on thin ice.
Think about all the teenage girls, the teenagers that flocked to that
played.
movie that maybe weren't very versed in history. You know, fucking 13, 14-year-olds that maybe, I don't know. I'm sure.
Suppose you're right.
I'm sure there were people that were like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, well, there are plenty of people that saw Apollo 13 that didn't realize that, they made it back. Or that it was even real. The Titanic, though, that's fucking hilarious. The ship sinks at the end. You can't tell people the ending of the movie. Like, I also spoiled the ending of the Hindenburg. The humanity.
Oh, the humanity.
Oh.
I spent a lot of time in a blimp recently, so
Yeah, I saw some of the clips. Looked
yeah,
like
I
a good
saw
time.
some of the footage. High def. Anyway, well, thanks all for tuning in. This was an odd one. I just keep thinking that some sort of normality is a coming. By the way, how many of you overseas are just dying to come visit the Americas? This has been like one long travel log. Just a, what do they call those? Tourist attraction, bro. What the fuck do they call them?
Freak show.
A tour. It has been, yeah. It's a not exactly selling us on tourism. I wonder what tourism. Well, COVID is fucking that up. But it'll be interesting to see how tourism toward America is after all that dies down, because I can't imagine this looks like a grand place from the news.
If you're pretty ballsy, right now is the time to go travel. I mean, you could get round trip tickets from Seattle to.
I know people doing it. Yeah, just got to wear your mask. I hate flying already, and the thought of sitting on a plane wearing a mask for even just 3 hours just seems like barf city.
Well, it's only like $250.
I know.
For 2 people round trip.
I know. I've seen I've seen $200 deals to get to Hawaii.
Yeah.
But then you're like, okay, well, you're there, but where can you even go? What can you do? You don't know what the restrictions are. I guess going to the East Coast right now is your best bet, because a lot of that stuff is open. And it'll be interesting seeing the quick shift into sports, seeing the Super Bowl on the horizon. Was not looking like the Seahawks were going to crawl their way into the playoffs there for a little bit, but holy shit.
Like 12 or
they should have destroyed on that last game, and the fact that they didn't, man, I'm not feeling strong about there.
The 49ers are actually looking. Some of the pieces started coming together for them in the last part of the season.
Yeah,
like
must have. Yeah.
So that actually wasn't as unsettling for me. Like for me, it's just so much. They're inconsistent. Their defense stank for the first half of the season, but now they're great. It's like a top 5 defense. It's
and now the offensive line is leaving Wilson like a sitting duck. That motherfucker has had more sacks.
I think I think it's not been that bad actually, and I think that we'll be at full strength with the offensive line for the Rams game again. So there are some plus sides.
There were 2 key players that got hurt in that last game. Did they end up coming back?
Jamal Adams he's got a shoulder injury that we don't know what that's going to mean for. Pete Carroll's playing kind of coy right now. With everything going on, I haven't seen any Seahawk news today. So, but yeah, man, I'm pumped. I'm ready. I think we should be able to beat the Rams on Saturday and see where we go from there.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
There's something to say. I think a lot about and we know it well at home, because of us, being in Washington, our team Seattle, and it's not hard to say that the 12th man is actually, it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
And you take that away from a team. You know what?
We've had to
anymore. We've talked about
absolutely.
This before, but it's exactly like Metallica playing in an arena with nobody there. You know what I mean? You feed off the energy of the people. And you see it, and I've noticed it when I'm watching the games. I see it all the time.
Well, anyone who's been to a Seahawks game knows what that sound is. And now imagine being on the field. I don't care how loud your voice is, trying to yell a play to somebody, or even think. Jesus, it's intense, and that's all been gone this year.
We won games at home because of the crowd being so loud.
Oh, 100%.
Their team couldn't hear each other's plays.
100%. How many teams in even going back to the Kingdom? How many teams had delay of game penalties because they could not fucking hear, and it took like all the way until the end of the play clock to call off a fucking play. Yeah. Seattle's great for that. Not this year.
What I would love to see, Seattle make it through and get to the Super Bowl, and then have the COVID go away, and then just have them just fucking, oh man, just explode that fucking stadium with cheers and whatnot, because people they thrive on that. You know what I mean?
Well, it'll be interesting to see where is the Super Bowl this year.
I have no idea.
Is it
So
the Superdome?
is it the Jets Stadium? I think I might be wrong. Let's see, let me look.
Well, yeah, it would have to be East Coast because everything on the West Coast is still closed. But they'll have people there. Just it's a question of how many. I think they're at most places are at 10% or 25% capacity, something like that. That's still 15,000 people. That's people. I mean, the 15,000 people can make some noise, but that ain't 30,000, 40,000. I don't know how many people they usually have at a Super Bowl. They only play them at those big ones. It's going to be weird, isn't it, to have a Super Bowl where there's not like,
Well, I think that's affecting most players' games too, because when you're out there playing a real game, like this weekend, that was a real game. But in the sense of it all, it's almost like you're playing practice because you don't have.
Yeah, they're probably used to it by now. I mean, they've been playing it for a year, for a season, and it'll be interesting to see what it's like going back to it. Going back to a full, because you can get used to things fast, and there's advantages. It's like anything else. There's advantages and disadvantages to playing in a quiet or a quieter arena. But see, imagine after like a season of that, and then going back to
it's gonna be
like
shell shocking, right?
It's not CenturyLink. What's the Seattle arena now called?
Lumen Field.
Lumen for like 20 years, yeah. Something like that.
Is it 20 years?
It's going to be Lumen
Holy
for
shit.
a long time. Well, maybe not that long. I remember hearing it and thinking like, wow, that's a while.
I think Lumen sounds cool.
I just wish I'd miss the
Like
days of like Joe Albee Stadium. When stadiums like named after guys that got shit done in that arena or just built it. Now it's all like Verizon and
it's so weird.
Pizza Hut Dome.
I mean, if you're old enough, obviously, to think of like not going through Seattle and seeing the Kingdom.
The fucking Kingdom. Like how badass is that? The Kingdom, motherfucker. Did you guys all get a chance to go to a game in the Kingdom?
Oh, I spent many, many hours in the Kingdom.
That place got loud too, man. That was fucking intense.
The dome was so fucking cool too. I remember just looking up at the ceiling tiles that would eventually start falling.
that would eventually fall on folks' face. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get on out of here. Glad we could end on a decent note. And looks like the Senate went ahead as per usual. No explosions. No one's jumped out of any closets and said hurrah. So it's a weird fucking day in our history.
I forgot to add that I'm going to have to retire now that I'm the champion. But I'll be back next week. So.
All right. Well, that's fair. All right, y'all. Tune in next week. We'll see what Lyle does with his coming out of retirement party. And things ain't boding well for the roster in 2021. So if we do bring back, we'll figure out a way of bringing back playing for the audience. And we'll get some prizes. Sometimes we can't afford prizes. And sometimes we just don't really have anything.
For
we'll
me,
get
it's
that
like
dialed in.
I have stuff I'd love to send out. I just don't ever want to go to the post office. So anytime I did prizes before, I would just Amazon them.
Me, I promise.
And I would just Amazon them. But it's like $20 a prize at that point, bare minimum usually with shipping and whatnot.
That's every week, so it's like that's not practical. But we'll figure something out. It'll be it won't be you won't be winning like books and movies or.
Have you been to the post office post fucking COVID?
Here's what we should do.
I took a 2-year-old. It was fucking terrible.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Horrible, here's what we should do. We should do rounds where if you win, you're the winner. And then the next week's winner, we compile all the winners. And then we have, a few times a year, we will have like a champion shit. We can do our own champion shit. For news quiz, and then they'll get a prize. Then we can make it a decent prize. How about that? That won't break the bank, and then everyone can follow along. That keeps people coming back to see if they win one of those shitty prizes that we send your way.
Word. Okay.
All right. No, we'll forget about this on the next episode and never talk about it again. So tune in to hear that. Ron or radarstationart@gmail.com. Any feedback? Show suggestions if you'd like to be on the show. And going back to Ben's voice message, we've tried to get this going for a while. I'm going to put the call out to do it again. We love playing your voice messages on the show. And a lot of my favorite podcasts, they have this segment at the end of the show that's all feedback, and it's just people calling in and sharing stories, sharing feedback, miscellaneous jokes, whatever. Send any of that to radarstationart@gmail.com, and we'll play it on the show. Just record yourself. If you can't, some people can't figure out how to record the audio and send that. That's fine. Just record a video. You just aim the camera away from your face if you want to. I'll just extract the audio out of it, and we'll put it on the show. radarstationart@gmail.com, and if you want to send Christopher some show suggestions, when you do and he uses them, those questions for our weird trivia are worth 2 points. 2 or 3?
2 points. Two, bitch.
2 points, and that's exciting. So get in on that, and you can send that to remind me of that,
Christopher.Bazaar@gmail.com.
There you have it. All right, folks, be safe.
I got an email too. That's just the same, just instead of Chris, it's Lyle.
Yeah, we'll
I
send
mean,
Lyle whatever you want.
Dude,
Talk
it's
about
great.
rings,
Talk about how many rings you're using.
compare rings.
Right.
But I think you're talking to the Lord of the Rings. You know what I'm
And one ring to bind them.
All right,
in the
y'all.
darkness.
Be safe,
All right.
and don't be dicks. And I think we'll get through this, maybe? I don't know. Or we won't, and there'll be a better world on the other end of it, or no world.
But at least we can
Happy
sit
New Year.
together.
Happy New Year. All right, see y'all.
Night, guys.
Bye.
Oh, sorry. We're playing a game here.
This one's tough.
No, it's not. I think if
It'll be tough.